Hey everybody! Today we're going to read a story together called The Legend of the Indian Paintbrush. This is retold and illustrated by Tommy de Paola. And you can see right away that this is a legend, and a legend is a story that comes from the past. And I want you guys to really just look at the cover for a moment and really take a look at the picture. And what does it make you think that the story is going to be about? So it kind of looks like an Indian or a Native American. And by the looks of the background, it looks maybe like he is in the desert. I see that he has like a little weaving here and some pottery. So maybe he likes to paint pictures. I wonder what you're thinking. We'll go ahead and read the story, and when we're finished, we're going to talk a little bit more about characters and how we get to know our characters. The Legend of the Indian Paintbrush. Got to figure out how to get myself centered here. Many years ago, when people traveled the plains and lived in a circle of teepees, there was a boy who was smaller than the rest of the children in the tribe. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't keep up with the other boys, who were always riding, running, shooting their bows, and wrestling to prove their strength. Sometimes his mother and father worried for him. But the boy, who was called Little Gopher, was not without a gift of his own. From an early age, he made toy warriors from scraps of leather and pieces of wood, and he loved to decorate smooth stones with the red juices from berries he found in the hills. The wise shaman of the tribe understood that Little Gopher had a gift that was special. "Do not struggle, Little Gopher. Your path will not be the same as the others. They will grow up to be warriors. Your place among the people will be remembered for a different reason." I'll show you the picture here first. And in a few years, when Little Gopher was older, he went out to the hills alone to think about becoming a man, for this was the custom of the tribe. And it was there that a dream vision came to him. And we could kind of see that in the picture, couldn't we? All this bubble here kind of shows us he's dreaming. The sky filled with clouds, and out of them came a young Indian maiden and an old grandfather. She carried a rolled up animal skin, and he carried a brush made of fine animal hairs and pots of paints. So we can kind of make a prediction there with what he is carrying. He's got a brush and fine animal hairs and paints. You can see it looks like he still is in his dream. The grandfather spoke. "My son, these are the tools by which you shall become great among your people. You will paint pictures of the deeds of the warriors and the visions of the shaman, and the people shall see them and remember them forever." The maiden unrolled a pure white buckskin and placed it on the ground. "Find a buckskin as white as this," she told him. "Keep it, and one day you will paint a picture that is as pure as the colors in the evening sky." Isn't that pretty? Looks like a nighttime sky, doesn't it? And as she finished speaking, the clouds cleared and a sunset of great beauty filled the sky. Little Gopher looked at the white buckskin, and on it he saw colors as bright and beautiful as those who made by the setting sun. Then the sun slowly sank behind the hills. The sky grew dark, and the dream vision was over. Little Gopher returned to the circle of the people. Looks like he has a blank canvas right there. The next day he began to make soft brushes from the hairs of different animals and stiff brushes from the hair of the horses' tails. He gathered berries and flowers and rocks of different colors and crushed them to make his paints. He collected the skins of animals which the warriors brought home from their hunts. He stretched the skins on wooden frames and pulled them until they were tight. And that you can see in the picture right there. That is the animal hide, the skin that they used, and he's stretching them on these frames. And there you can see his paint brushes in the pots, and he is crushing those things, the rocks of different colors, to make his paint. And he began to paint pictures of great hunts, of great deeds, of great dream visions, so that the people would always remember. But even as he painted, Little Gopher sometimes longed to put aside his brushes and ride out with the warriors, but always he remembered his dream vision and did not go with them. Many months ago, he had found his pure white buckskin, but it remained empty because he could not find the colors of the sunset. He used the brightest flowers, the reddest berries, and the deepest purples from the rocks, and still his paintings never satisfied him. They looked dull and dark. He began to go to the top of a hill each evening and look at the colors that filled the sky, to try and understand how to make them. He longed to share the beauty of his dream vision with the people. But he never gave up trying. And every morning when he awoke, he took out his brushes and his pots of paints and created the stories of the people with the tools he had. One night as he lay awake, he heard a voice calling to him, "Because you have been faithful to the people and true to your gift, you shall find the colors you are seeking. Tomorrow take the white buckskin and go to the place where you watch the sun in the evening. There on the ground you will find what you need." The next evening, as the sun began to go down, Little Gopher put aside his brushes and went to the top of the hill. As the colors of the sunset spread across the sky, and there on the ground all around him were brushes filled with paint, each one a color of the sunset, Little Gopher began to paint quickly and surely, using one brush, then another. And as the colors in the sky began to fade, Little Gopher gazed at the white buckskin, and he was happy. He had found the colors of the sunset. He carried his painting down to the circle of the people, leaving the brushes on the hillside. And the next day, when the people awoke, the hill was ablaze with color, for the brushes had taken root in the earth and multiplied into plants of brilliant reds, oranges, and yellows. And every spring from that time, the hills and meadows burst into bloom. And every spring, the people danced and sang the praises of Little Gopher, who had painted for the people. And the people no longer called him Little Gopher, but he who brought the sunset to the earth. And that is the end of the legend. So as I was saying, boys and girls, we're going to talk a little bit more about his character. And this is something that is not new. We've talked about that this year. So I'm going to pull up something here real quick to show you. If you guys remember, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this to show up if I back up far enough. Nope, it's not going to really show, is it? Okay. So, as I was saying, you guys know that when we talk about character, we learn about the characters in our book in a couple of different ways. We can look at the external part, and external just means we look at the outside, okay? So what we can see with our eyes, what do they look like? And we can kind of see a little bit of their actions. And then we also take a look at the internal traits, and those are the things that we cannot see with our eyes. So those are the things like their feelings and their emotions. And we've talked about, well, how do we know those traits of our characters? Well, we have to tune in to the things that the author is telling us, and we also have to tune in to what our character is saying and some of their body language and some of the things that they might be expressing through their feelings. So when we take a look at this, I can ask you guys, I want you to think in your heads, what does the boy look like? And then I also want you to be thinking, how is this boy different from the other boys in his tribe? Okay, so those are the things that you guys can see on the outside or the external traits. Now for the internal traits, I want you to think about this question. How does little Gopher respond to the challenge of painting the sunset for the people? Again, how does little Gopher, how does little Gopher respond to the challenge of painting the sunset for the people? What does he do when he's asked? And then what does that tell us about his character? Okay, I hope you enjoyed this story today. And as the week goes on, we'll talk a little bit more about character. Have a good day.